Hello everybody and welcome to episode 47 of Show For You, where today we'll be going over chapter 32 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. Now, so this chapter, obviously picks up where the last one left off. So we see as the plan to lure the Momushi to Ada is being executed. And so we see as Boruto is slowly, he talks with the Momushi and he's like, yo, we'll take you to Ida before we concede, so we'll take you to Ida. And so as he's leading them along to Ada, he's kind of talking with him, and he's telling him about Damon, and he's like, yeah, you need to watch out for Damon because Damon is able to reflect emotion. Well, he actually doesn't tell him this, but he tells him about how Damon has superhuman strength and all of that, and then the Mamushi on his own ends up stating, yeah, I know that Damon has a superhuman strength and that he can reflect people's emotions when he has two hands on him, which shows us now that the Ten Tails tree beast things are knowledgeable of the memories that they had at one point when they were human. So I'm really ready to see how this plays out with Sasuke's tree beast, or whatever it is. I don't remember what they're called exactly. But I'm ready to see how this plays out with Sasuke, because Sasuke has a lot of knowledge. He knows a lot of data, because, I mean, he was an intelligence agent for the Leaf for the entire time after Shippuden, almost. So I'm really ready to see how this plays out with Sasuke, because I honestly think that Jura, the, leader, will not actually be the main antagonist of the series. I believe it would actually probably be the Sasuke one, because he will be absurdly powerful, because he's already a tree beast and a divine tree beast, and he has the knowledge of Sasuke. So that will be honestly a terrifying antagonist to see. So I guess we can just best hope that they free Sasuke before they have to deal with him. But yeah, so we see as Boruto is leading Mamushi to Ada. We see as everyone else is kind of preparing. And we see as Shikamaru asks Sarada how many Mamushi she thinks she could consume with her Mangekyo, her Ohirume, and she says she believes she can do 30, but then she says, no, I can do 50. So they end up luring him over to Ada's house, and we see as Ada and Damon are waiting for them outside. And as the Mamushi begin to pull up, we see as they all start crowding, fighting over each other just to get to Ada. So they met this worm-looking thing in the sky as they're flying toward her. But Ada and Damon end up going flying, and they start flying, and the Mamushi start to pursue them, and the Mamushi are flying faster than Ada and them. So they eventually grab onto Ada's leg, but Damon's able to reflect on that Mamushi and kill him. And then he's moving along until eventually Damon's like, okay, get to the ground. I will be able to deal with him from here. So Damon ends up getting on the ground, and obviously we get to see a phenomenal performance from Damon, because Damon's just insane power-wise. Because like I said, he can reflect intent to kill, so he can just kill anything. And he also has superhuman strength. So we get to see him slime out a couple Mamushi and all that. We get some pretty cool scenes. We see as he ends up just defending Ada and all that, and then we see as Boruto does a little bit of assistance. He ends up not decapitating, but cutting the heads in half of some of the Mamushi, and we see as Kawaki ends up using his karma to use fire powers and all that to kill some more of the Mamushi. So we get to see a performance from about all the big characters at the moment. So it's cool to see them use their powers and all that good stuff to take down the Mamushi. I believe there was about 200 at the time, and they broke them down all the way to 70, 60, and they ended up getting to 50. So this is where Shikamaru's like, okay, Sarada, it's your time to come in. So we see Sarada come in, she goes Mangekyo Sharingan, starts using Ohirume, and Ohirume absorbs a couple of the Mamushi, but however, she gets up there and then suddenly faints. She overused her Mangekyo Sharingan. I was right with my theory on the last chapter. I was right in believing that she does not know the limits of the Mangekyo Sharingan. So I believe there is a high possibility still that she will overuse it and go blind. Or get the Mangekyo Sharingan spam sickness that Itachi got. Which would be a very tragic thing to see, because especially for Sasuke, because since Sasuke wasn't around there to teach her and inform her, then she ended up suffering the same fate as his brother, which would be a very tragic thing to see, but I would actually love to see it, because it would be a phenomenal plot piece for 2 Blue Vortex. I mean, 2 Blue Vortex has a really interesting plot so far, and I believe that wouldn't be out of Ikemoto's range of narrative choices, and I believe it'd be a very good choice to make, because Sarada obviously does not know the limits and really the powers of the Mangekyo Sharingan, so she's either going to have to get an internal, or she's going to, I would presume, go blind or lose to the sickness that Itachi lost to. But yeah, we see as she ends up overusing her Mangekyo, lands out, faints, Boruto ends up catching her, but then we see as the Mamushi start duplicating at a rapid pace, because since they got narrowed down so much, their intelligence re-amped, because when there's more Mamushi, as I said previously, they become more stupid, because there's less intelligence to go around, but when there's lesser quantities of them, they become more intelligent. That's just how Mamushi works. And so we see as the Mamushi become more intelligent and they become aware of their circumstances, they become aware of what Sarada can do, and they are able to strategize briefly before they start duplicating again. And we see as Kawaki's trying to deal with these ones that are duplicating, but Kawaki actually ends up overriding his power with his karma and all that. And we see as Amado's kind of like, in just like a brief panel. And yeah, we see eventually as the Mamushi end up duplicating into the thousands. And the panels kind of end with the Mamushi end up setting up. We see a brief panel of Koji Kashin, who's kind of like grimacing in a way, so we presume this is possibly following in the path of one of the futures that he saw. And yeah, so that ends up setting the next chapter up for a big battle, or possibly a death of some sort against the 1,000 of Mamushi. But yeah, this chapter was really interesting. I loved seeing it. I loved seeing that Sarada overused her Sharingan, and how she did this out of just not knowing the chakra expense of the Sharingan, because we see as Delta's talking with her. Oh yeah, we can see Delta fight a little bit too. But Shikamaru's like, has she used it already? And Delta was like, yeah, she just used it a little bit. And Shikamaru gets reminiscing about how he knew it had a high chakra expense because like with Kakashi and all that. And he just didn't know it would have that much of a weight on Sarada. But yeah, I really like seeing that the consequences of the Mangekyou Sharingan actually came into play and not just having the bleeding eye and all that. So yeah, I cannot wait to see how Ikimoto goes with that. And like I said, I honestly kind of hope that Sarada ends up getting the same sickness as Itachi or ends up going blind, because I believe that would be a very interesting turn of events. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Chapter 32 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, that's all I have for episode 47 of Show Review. See ya.